Waterfall, the CCW podcast.
Hello, welcome to Waterfall. It's a water saving podcast brought to you by CCW. We're all about saving water, sustainable living, protecting the environment and combating climate change. We're going down the sewers today. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a couple of really great guests coming along in just a second. I'm Mike. I'm here with Karen. Hiya, Karen.
Hello, Mike.
Before we get stuck in to the interviews, we just remind people how they can get in touch with the show.
Yes, you can email us at podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
Brilliant. And don't forget, you can find us on the socials. We are at CCW Voice. And we love to hear from you. But we've got a really packed show today. So let's just bring on the guests.
This podcast is brought to you by CCW, the voice for water consumers.
So it's a great pleasure to welcome Jacob Larkin from Unblocktober. He is the campaigns coordinator. Hello, Jacob.
Hello, how are you doing? Okay.
Yeah, we're good. And we have got CCW's king of the sewers. It's Steve Grebby. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Mike.
So, Unblocktober. That's interesting and slightly confusing because it's December. Before we get stuck into Unblocktober, can we just start by saying what are fats, oils and greases and what's all the fuss about?
Yeah, so like fogs, like you say, like fat, oils and grease is like stuff that you normally find in like your kitchens. So things that come from like butter, meat, oils from cooking or like salad dressings and stuff. But it even goes down to like the nitty gritty stuffs of like food scraps. That people like try and like force down like the sinks. So if like these pieces of food like get stuck to the oils, like they can accelerate the speed in which like the fat bags are created. So yeah, that's practically what it is really. It's just accumulation of like the stuff that you use within your kitchen.
Stuff that can be quite simple, like stuff in your frying pan that can be quite simple. It might only seem like a little bit, and it's really tempting to sort of scrape down your sink to get it away quickly. But actually that stuff accumulates in your drains and your sewers and your plug holes and eventually causes blockages.
And is that the issue then, that you stick stuff down the sewers, down your drain, out of sight, out of mind, and then something happens to that once it goes down the plug hole? So it congeals. Is that what happens? And why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, because I think people have like the common misconception that like because like the liquids are hot when like just say like if you're making like a bacon sandwich or something, that the liquids going down the pipe just like flow down and disappear. But like in reality, like as soon as they hit that cold pipe, it just starts to like build up. And even though like I know people always say like, oh, just pour some like hot water down after it, like it won't be stuck in the pipes now. But even if it doesn't make the problem in your own sinks, like it can like create a bigger problem further down the drain. And it's kind of the same with like dishwashers and stuff like that. Like the systems aren't designed to like handle the substances like fats, oils and grease. So we always try and like get people to like clean out the filters, remove all the food from the plates before putting them in the dishwasher. Just so it just minimises the risk of anything going down the drains.
Yeah, that's a good little tip, that, Jacob. Just scraping your plates is a really good way of just getting all that sort of gravy and all the things that have fat in it. Cooking sauces have oil and fat in them, and they can all contribute to fatbergs. So just giving your plates a little scrape is a perfect way a really simple way of A, sort of cleaning up your dishes and B, preventing your sink blocking up.
Steve,
definitely.
That's a really good point, Steve, because you sent me a spatula to encourage me to scrape.
I did, and do you use it?
And well, I was thinking about this the other day because not only that, I've now bought two more because I've realised there's a slightly different spatula for different occasions depending on what size of pot, what shape of pot, what you're scraping. But I'm not joking. It really has changed my habits, actually. So, well done. And just on, you mentioned dishwashers, Jacob. Is that I think I certainly didn't view the dishwasher in the same way as I view the plug hole. You know, in terms of I'm careful about what I put down the plug hole, but probably less diligent in what, I stick a plate in the dishwasher. Oh, surely that'll be fine. So is that a big problem too?
I think so. I think it's like people kind of say a dishwasher is like more advanced than like hand washing, like your pots and pans and stuff. So they might think it like as more like pressure to like get rid of these like fat oils and grease, but it still just deals with the exact same way, that it just tries to disguise the problem rather than actually like fixing it.
Oh, Jacob, I'm in trouble here. I stick all the greasy plates in, hoping it will just make it better.
But generally, right, if you look at where the pipe comes out from your dishwasher, it generally goes straight into the plug hole under your sink. They'll join together, and actually, the pipe coming out of your dishwasher is much smaller than your plug hole. It's about half the size of your plug holes. So the likelihood you're going to block your dishwasher it's even worse. It's even more likely you're going to block your dishwasher with fat oils and grease. That's why they have filters in. You deal sure they have a filter in it, but if you don't put the fat in there in the first place, you don't have to clean that filter out. And it's the same with your sink. Everybody's had a blocked plug hole at some point. It's absolutely awful having to clean these things out, and just by not sticking your food stuff down this plug hole in the first place will save you that job of cleaning it up.
Enjoying the show? Please consider leaving a 5-star rating on iTunes and Spotify.
What are some of the sort of wider consequences of not doing things properly?
Like in respect of like kind of like environmental consequences and stuff, you mean?
Yeah, or what impact does it have on the household themselves? You know, I mean, I'm imagining that if you have a blockage, you can find yourself ending up paying quite a big bill to a plumbing company to come and clear it all out for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. It's like people don't really expect like a big payment at the end of it, but it can like become this big massive problem. Especially for like even like you say like not just your household but like your neighbours as well. Like it's like you say like it's not just fog. It's like wet wipes and other materials like tampons, condoms, earbuds and stuff like that. So if you like pour it down your sink or down the toilet, it can like accumulate in your street almost. So like everyone's waste is trying to go to like one point. It's like creating like a communal problem rather than just your own.
That sounds horrendous, doesn't it?
Yeah, Jacob's spot on there. I mean, water companies in 2022, water companies dealt with 47,176 properties flooded outside their homes and 4,794 properties inside their homes. And the reason why I'm being so specific about that figure is these are people's homes that are flooded, and you know they're not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're not just big numbers. These are families who are really impacted, and you know their possessions get destroyed. It's a health hazard. You know the kids have to walk through it when they go out to school, when it's in their front gardens. And, you know, these are just the number of properties. They're not the number of people. You know, you can double or triple that number if you think if this is per property and you've got occupants in a property, 2.5 people in every property. You know, so you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people every year impacted through sewer flooding incidents, and the vast majority of those incidents are caused by blockages.
Just run me those numbers again, Steve. You know, I love a good number, but those numbers sounded very big. Just let those numbers sink in. Tell me them again.
47,176 externally, so that's in people's gardens.
That's basically stuff from the drains and sewers coming up into your
poo and sewage in your garden, on your driveway. It doesn't even include sewers that overflow into the streets. That's not, this is just incidents on people's properties. This is not impacts on the wider environment of the communities. Almost 50,000, 4,794 inside their homes. So that's coming out of their toilet, coming up their shower, because sewage will find the easiest way to come out, and that will be through people's toilets and bathrooms. So you can imagine having sewage all over your bathroom floor, and in worst cases that we've just done some research about the impacts this have, and it's horrendous. It not only impacts people's possessions and property, it also severely impacts their mental health and their well-being, because you can imagine if it happens once, the worry of it happening again is huge.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I'm not being funny, but I get told off for weeing on the floor. Imagine that at scale and with other unspeakables put in. I mean, it's honestly horrific, as you say, horrific. And Jacob, you're a campaign coordinator for Unblocktober. So obviously we've just been talking about the consequences of a blockage. Just tell us a little bit about Unblocktober and what that's trying to do.
Yeah, so Unblocktober is now in its 6th year. So it is the world's first month-long campaign focusing in on improving the health of our drain sewers, water seas and seas. So what we like to do is particularly focus on the importance of properly disposing of fats, oils and grease, like you say. And the idea is to raise awareness of how these items can create such a problem, and the issues that can happen to your drains, which we say can be quite costly.
Wow. I mean, so Unblocktober, obviously a month-long campaign, guessing it's October. it's the month. We're now heading towards Christmas. Obviously a lot of cooking is done at Christmas, and I'm guessing there's a lot of bad behaviours associated with drains happening at Christmas.
Yeah, more than likely. Like you say, during Christmas it's just more, people cook more than usual. So especially large meals, with Christmas dinners, Boxing Day dinners and stuff like that, which all involve frying and roasting and baking. So there is a lot of fog waste that is a byproduct of Christmas and the festive period.
It's, as Mike says, we are coming up to Christmas, but the message of Unblocktober is still there. I think it's good that it's in October, because it's just before we come into the festive season. We have what we call festive fats. We try to talk about festive fats to encourage people not to flush fogs down the sink. And because you're getting all the family around, and you're doing your sort of biggest family meal of the year, it's a really good time to think about how you dispose of that, because you're going to have roasting tins, as you say, Jacob, filled with potatoes and oil. And if you just think now about how you get rid of that, that can be your change for the new year. It can be a New Year's resolution, because the costs can be huge, and we've spoke about the cost to people who get flooded with sewage, but the cost to the individual can be huge as well. I mean, Jacob, do you have any idea of you work for a drainage company as well? What would it cost me if I blocked up my drain tomorrow? What would it cost me to call someone out?
Oh, that is a good question. It all just depends on the actual size of the blockage and stuff like that. Like you say, if people are abusing the systems day in, day out, it's going to be a lot more costly than someone who does it every so often. So a ballpark figure, I don't think I'll be able to give you, if I'm honest. But we are looking within the hundreds, maybe even the thousands. Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend who, great cook, I mean, loved going round to his house, but unfortunately he always poured that roast potato oil down the sink. And I told him time and time again, and he didn't listen. And eventually he got a blockage, and he got that blockage on Christmas Eve. And of course, he lived in London, very expensive place to live, also a very expensive place to clear a blockage. It cost him about 500 quid to get that blockage cleared. But also, while that blockage was there, they couldn't flush their loos. So you had 3 kids, all, wanting to go to the toilet, couldn't use the loo, couldn't have a shower. They had to decamp their friends across the street to go and use the toilet. And then, because it was a terraced house, they had one of these big vans that sort of suck out the drain in order you can get the rods down to clear out the blockage. And of course, that pipe had to go right the way through his house. So he had a dirty sewer pipe to suck out the drain. So he had not only the stress of all that, but it ended up costing him £500 or £600 to get it done because it was Christmas Eve. So you never know when these blockages are going to come back to haunt you, or the fat bug's going to come to bite you. But you know that once it goes down, it doesn't go away, does it?
No, definitely not. And like you say, like through like the festive period and stuff, like it's sometimes it's like on the back burner. Like once like your family starts coming round and you're getting like distracted by like opening presents and want to like catch up with people. Like sometimes it's not the first thing on your mind, like, oh, I need to remember to like not put the fog down the sink, but it is still like a big issue that is happening like every day that like people do need to remember.
Jacob, you mentioned earlier on sort of the environmental impact that this can have as well. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so obviously with fog and stuff like going down your drains, like we mentioned about like sewer overflows, so like not even just like in people's gardens or streets, it's like the untreated sewage that can flow into like rivers or even like the oceans, so like causing like even more major pollution, which can ultimately obviously harm aquatic life, spread disease and even like damage ecosystems. So like people might think like, oh, it's just a blocked sink, but like in the broader reality of it all, like it's got a bigger part to play in like the damage it's causing further down the line.
Yeah, there's these. I don't think a lot of people realise that sewers and drains are quite small. You know, you're talking 15 centimetres, 4 inches, something like that for most small drains. You know, I think they imagine sewers are the big pictures we've seen about people walking down them, but they also don't know that they're designed to overflow. They're designed to protect properties. So if a sewer blocks up, then that sewer will overflow into your nearest river or stream, and of course that's sewage, raw sewage from our houses when it blocks up and floods streams. And there's a big controversy around storm overflows, but they're there for a reason. And the fact is, we're getting much more blockages now than we ever have. And therefore, these overflows are operating more than they ever have. And there's a simple way to stop it. And that's, for us to not put stuff down the toilet and stuff down the sink that we shouldn't do. And, it's a change in behaviour, which is always quite difficult because you've got to stick with it. I'm really pleased that Mike's not only graduated from his one spatula that I bought him, but has now graduated up. And I think it's that start, isn't it? It's the difficult bit. You're starting to change behaviour is difficult, and then after a while, you just forget about it. It's just second nature.
Habit.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously gave some really good advice about scraping the plates before putting them in the dishwasher. Is there anything else that you recommend that we should be doing with, the stuff that we do scrape from our baking trays and various other bits of kit?
Yeah, so it's like you said, like when you were saying it's like more like a changing of habits. Things like once you say like you scrape all the oil into like a collection jar or like a container, you could like get like the grandkids or the children involved and like create like DIY like bird feed, like with like seeds and stuff you can get from like retail stores on like the high street, and just make it a bit more like interactive and then like educational at the same time. So yeah, like that's one way. But then even like you say, like a container to use like every day. But then like if it's like Christmas time, using like like the trays that you put your turkeys and stuff in, you could like dedicate like 1-2 like leftover like cooking oils and stuff, or even like just scraps and everything goes into this one container. So it's all being collected properly, and then you can dispose of it in your household waste.
Yeah, because once you've let it cool down, it tends to sort of solidify anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good point about the container. I think having something there really helps. It's a little reminder, isn't it? And it can be anything, can't it? I mean, I've got quite a fancy one because I would. I collect these things. But water companies give them away. Water companies give away these little pots. I think the function of that is just a little reminder to yourself that, that it's there for a reason and to use it. But you're right, Jacob. You can use anything. I think when I first did it, I had an old, just a tin can. And every time I opened a can, it was there. Scrape it in, sometimes emptied the can out and used it again, and when it was full, it used to just go away. But it's the water companies do scrapers as well, so you don't have to shell out for a luxurious piece of spatula that I bought Mike. You can just get one free from your water company, and a pot. And it's that having that thing there on your kitchen sink is really a good reminder to sort of do the right thing, not just for yourself but for everybody in your local area too.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's that mentality of like out of sight, out of mind. So just those like little like reminders and like trinkets can like help people remember, like, oh no, that shouldn't be down the sink.
And we really do need reminding. We did some research a couple of years ago now called Sink Sense, and we asked people, how do you, what do you do and don't do in the kitchen? Do you pour fats, oils, and grease down there? And the answer was no, we don't do that. Of course we don't do that. We know how it can damage the environment. We would never do that. And then we filmed them. I mean, they knew they were being filmed, but because it was over a week, they forgot they were being filmed. And then, of course, we caught loads of people. And my favourite one is a guy who was literally emptying the turkey, the chicken, down his sink. So all the fat from the chicken down the sink. And his wife went mad. And it just shows you that gap between what we think we do and our intentions, and actually, our actions are entirely different. And that's why I think we need these little prompts, be it a container or a gun pot or a scraper, just to help us change that behaviour. But once we get there, it's quite an easy and second nature thing to do.
No, definitely.
Thank you, Jacob, for coming in. It's good to hear about Unblocktober and all the great work you are doing. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that people don't get their Christmases ruined by their turkeys.
Yeah, he's hoping. It's like after a few wines, people just start to forget.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, so the only thing that we've got left to ask is whether, Jacob, you know what your water use is on a daily basis?
I probably wouldn't know off the top of my head, if I'm honest. Like, I do try and be mindful of like my water usage and stuff, like taking shorter showers and turning the taps off when I'm brushing my teeth and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't know off the top of my head. But if you've got like a converter or something I can use, I can try and work it out.
No, it's interesting because we ask people because it's quite interesting to know, for example, who's got a meter, who, even if they've got a meter, they don't always know how much they're using. And so it's quite interesting for us to understand just how aware people are. So, we can definitely link you to our water meter calculator, and that'll give you a sort of sense of, sort of what your water consumption is likely to be.
No, yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Brilliant. All right, nice one. Thank you, Jacob.
No, thank you very much.
Lovely to meet you. Thanks for joining us.
All right, cheers. Thanks for that.
We'll get in touch next year, and we'll see if we can link up and do something around Unblocktober.
No, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Right, thanks for having me. Thanks.
Later.
Take care. Bye.
So great to hear Jacob there from Unblocktober. We got an email, Karen, from our favourite American listener, Tony V, has been in touch, funnily enough, about the topic of blockages. And we were discussing whether that was a thing that was discussed a lot in America. And apparently he was saying, he says, happy holidays. There are no public service efforts in general regarding the disposal of fats as far as he knows. I believe most people simply repeat the procedures that they were taught when they were younger. His town's policy is to collect used liquid fats in containers and bring them to the town's recycling centre where it's collected and disposed of. I don't know if the fat's recycled or burned. I think the town just wants to keep it out of the sewage system. So there you go. As far as I know, we don't do that here, do we? Like, be able to take them along to recycling centres. Steve, is that something?
It's something that they tried in East Anglia. They had sort of bins at supermarkets, sponsored by Anglian Water, did a big research project. And there was a problem with contamination. But where it really does work is where you get sort of takeaways and restaurants. Chip shops, particularly the obvious one, loads of oil being used there. Water companies will now sort of get somebody to come and take that away, and they take it to make biodiesel. So there are companies that actually will fuel their vans and lorries with biodiesel made from fats, oils and grease. So moving in the right direction. But certainly it looks like Tony's got some good behavioural, good recycling facilities in America.
Yeah, and I was curious about what they do over in the States, because obviously they have Thanksgiving, where that's their traditional turkey time. So you'd think the problems would be the same that we have at Christmas, in the challenges. So yeah, it was always great to hear from Tony. Always great to hear from our listeners. So this is our last episode of the 4th season of Waterfall. I don't know how we got to 4 seasons. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today. It's always great to have you on the show. And let's just remind people, if you've got ideas of what else you'd like to hear on the show, please get in touch. We've got an email address.
We have indeed, and that's podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
Brilliant. So that's it. That's bye from me, Mike.
Bye from me, Karen.
Bye.
Lovely.